Welcome back to a very basic space program. This is episode 7 and you see us in the VAB. We've got the J006 and this was going to be my next craft to build, but I've come up with another idea. Why don't you join me and let's see what's going on. Right, so we're here in the mission control and we have a couple of missions to do. First of all, we've got experimental rocket planes, which is now at 127 days. So that's going to be selected because we've been waiting for that at the end of last episode. So there we go. And I was going to go straight for low science biological experiments just to finish off the set of 3. However, that will give me about 19,000. What also will give me a similar amount of money is sounding rockets, altitude sounding rockets. And yeah, thank you, Gene. And downrange distance. So I'm having a look at this and I'm thinking we might have an opportunity here because we haven't done these. They've been sat around for, in this case, almost 3 years, and this one a little bit less. So there's actually a large buildup of funds. We're running on three times the normal funds. So I think we're going to try and go for one of these. I think we'll start off with let's have a look. Downrange development, we could go, I don't know if we've got a rocket that could do this. But this, I think we could do. We have to go, do we have to go suborbital? We've got to go over 140 kilometers and go 190 kilometers downrange. I think we can do that. And that would give us a big chunk of cash. That's what, 15,000 to start with, and another 18 on completion. So I think we're going to do that. We're going to put that one in. That's a downrange intermediate, and then we'll go for one of the others next time, and we'll knock these off, these 90-day cycles. At some point we won't be able to do them because they'll be too far, but we'll do that. So we'll accept that one. Right. Which now means that I need to build a craft that's going to hold 230 units of sounding rocket payload and get that downrange distance. So let's go to the VAB again. Right, so we're in the VAB and we've come back to the J006. This is pretty much an exact copy of the J005. In fact, it is an exact copy. So if we take the fairing off, we can see there's the payload and whatnot inside that we're going to send up. And we were just going to repeat this. We might have had to increase in fact, we were going to increase these little sounding rocket containing areas to just carry a bit more sounding rocket payload. However, if we're going to do this downrange thing, we don't need all of this. And in fact, it's actually going to weigh us down because we want to go downrange and it's going to give us a chunk of money. And this costs time to build. So I just want this bit at the bottom. Unfortunately, that's not the main route part. So we'll just change that by clicking on reroute. We're going to make this avionics unit the new route. And then we're going to get rid of that whole top section. There we go. And then, it's like I prepared one earlier. Here we go. We have a new section on the top here. This is a conventional structural tank. And it's peak 2, decent height, should be okay. I haven't tested it. We're going for separate aluminium high pressure, and then within it we can actually put some payload. So if we go to tank UI, I need 230 units of sounding rocket payload. So we go down here. I've already got 200 in there. Let's turn that to 230. Let's do 235 just to be safe. Okay, and that is that done. And we can hit that, and we can see that's okay. We've got 2,400 meters per second, and I need to go. Let's have a look. Oh, and interestingly, I need to have control, sufficient control, first 50 seconds. I didn't notice that. It's lucky we used this and not one of our smaller rockets. How interesting. So that's like, these are very much like stepping stones to the 3,000 kilometer test. So we're going to save that. There we go. Number 6 is, we'll just save it again just in case. Right, that's saved. Right, and we're going to put it on the build queue. Oh, actually, let's check tooling. What's tooling going to do for me? Tooling will save me 3 days and save me 100 funds, and it will cost me 1,000. But that is that top section, and if we're going to do a few of these, we can reuse that top section because it will actually have a capacity that's like in excess of that 200. I think we probably get about 1,000 or 2,000 in there. So we'll tool that because I think it's going to be worth it in the long run. Right. So that's 112 days to build that, and yeah, I think we're ready for that to go. So save it again and put it on the queue. Right, let's go and have a look at this plane of ours. Now, before we get to the plane, I have to actually do some sort of planning in my head. We have about 40,000 funds, and I would love to spend that on upgrade points. However, I really want to get this engine. This is going to cost me, what, 43,000 when I get to it. And this one's going to cost me 10, so I'm looking at having 50 in stock. I think we spend 1 upgrade point and we keep a little bit back. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to spend 1 upgrade point, which we will do upgrade, get a point, put it into R&D. That's going to give us a nice big jump. Thank you very much. My R&D is looking good. We're going to get supersonic flight soon. We can upgrade that cockpit on our plane, on the Coniston. And then we can move on with these things that we need to get going on, because I need to get to here pretty much as soon as possible to start working on that engine. Right, let's go get this plane in the air, do this mission, I think. Let's do it. So today's pilot is Constantine, and we're just about to air launch as we go. I need to check what mission it actually is to start with when we get to this point. Let's get the thrust up and fire those engines. We've got a good light, that's good. We can just pull the thing up a bit. Right, let's have a look at this mission. So we have, what's our aim? Experiment rocket plane. We need to go over 15 kilometers and be over 400 meters per second. Okay, that's easy. Let's get going. Just check that all of our science is doing. Science is doing. So there we go, just going to pull back a bit, get a bit of altitude, because we need to go over the 15 kilometer marker. There we are, we're happy with that angle. And there we go, the Coniston is just going to fly nicely. Now, if anybody has been watching these flights and anybody has wondered why is it called a Coniston, quite simply, look up Donald Campbell. That's a worthy name to look up. And also, this should probably be blue, if I'm honest with myself. I quite like the yellowy orange. So we're going to just continue on up there, getting the speed. We need to go over 400, I believe, to complete this mission. Let's have a look. Yeah, we're going to be over 400 and over 15 kilometers. So this should be quite easy. Just there we go, powering on up, and we're going to just let that. I think we're going to reduce thrust to just a little bit. Let us gain a bit. There we go. Just pull that thrust down. We don't need to go too fast, too quickly, do we? Don't want to go too crazy. There is a speed record there that I'm not too worried about. Not too worried about that. Speed record there. Right. Now there's a thought. Yes. If you could do those downrange development ones with a craft that was winged and air launched, that's an idea, isn't it? We will have to think about that, I think. Right, so we're just getting a bit of altitude there. We're still predicted to still be under the range, but I think now we're going to be okay. Yeah, so now we can actually start to level the craft out a bit. There we go. Keep it just above the gear. So we're going to be heading up a little bit. We don't want to go too far over the 15. I don't need to go over the 15. What I'm actually just doing is just testing these engines, getting the data in these engines, because they're going to be important. You know, we're going to be flying this craft hopefully higher and higher and higher as time goes on. As we upgrade things, we're going to be able to launch it from a higher altitude at a higher speed, and that's going to allow us to fire it up there even higher. We'll see. I also have potential engine upgrades for this thing, which will be quite nice. So we'll see what comes along. And there we go. We can see on the coast there, we're coming up to the coast, and we never seem to be quite aligned with the launch pad. Interesting. Oh, we have a new speed record crewed. That's nice. That'll be a bit of cash. What else we got? Speed. So the next speed record is going to be 900. I do not believe we're going to beat 9. We could beat 900 actually with this. Let's see if we can. Let's ramp up the engines and just see what the final burst is going to give us. Are we going to beat the 900? We could. We've got 20 seconds to do it. 20 seconds. And no, I don't think we can. We might. It depends on the speed, the rate of acceleration. I wonder if we could just level it and come down a bit. Get a bit of gravity helping us. 8 seconds. Go down, 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 down. 4. No, we're going to miss it. That's annoying. If we'd have started it early, we could have got it. Oh well. Right, well, we're just going to pull it up a bit, and we're just going to cruise along. Got a bit of high speed jiggle there. Jiggle and dig jiggle. Oh dear, the cockpit is... I wonder if we can do a bit of air braking. There we go. Just slow us down a bit. Just slow us down, because it's a little toasty, isn't it? I do believe there's actually been an update to thermal transfer in this Mark 1 X1 cockpit, so I'll have to look into that just in case, because that might help. It might also help if we put some air brakes on this. That's an idea. Build some air brakes into it somewhere, maybe coming out from the tail to help slow it down on high speed things. I've done that in the past with my a very British space program flight. Actually, we had some side ones on the vertical stabilizers, although these vertical stabilizers are fully moving, so that's not going to work for that. Right, let's get those brakes deployed again, away, store them, and we're just going through. You can see there we've got a lot of space in here for engine development. Really, it's really designed for getting as much development as we can. So let's speed this up now as we're going along, and I'm hoping again we're going to make it to, we should make it to land, I'm hoping. Just let it drift along there. We've got a lot of speed. Actually, we're definitely going to come in. I think this time we look as though we're actually going to be coming in over the KSC, which would be very nice. Actually, it's always nice to put it down near home. Yeah, I did consider wheels. I really did consider wheels with this, but unfortunately, I'm not the best in the world for designing craft that land easily. Taking off, not so bad. Landing, for some reason I tend to get instability and wobble, and combine that with the changes to the wheel mechanics at the moment. Well, actually not the wheel mechanics, but the wheels I believe have got like a speed limit, so they will actually sort of explode at like 100 meters per second, which is accurate, because things like a lot of the original test flights and things would actually have landed at a maximum of 100 meters per second. So I'm not complaining about that. It is realistic. What you'd probably have is actually skids on this. You'd have skids and you'd land it in a lake bed or something like that, which is what happened with the I think the X-15 did that after blowing off its lower sort of tail plane there. We can't really have skids because friction and whatnot, and the interesting interaction that occurs with Kerbal, but yeah, it'd be interesting and nice to have. So we'll just drift it in here. We are still carrying quite a bit of speed here. We're low, so any parachute deployment right now would be pretty much a nice little drag for us. We're just going to pull the nose up a little bit, and then we're probably going to go into a little bit of a stalling climb. Would be quite nice. It is a very standing out sort of craft, isn't it? It's sort of it actually rings of a cross between the X1, because I think of the cockpit obviously, and the body shape-ish, and the X-15. It's very odd. I'm not entirely sure what I've designed there. Alright, so we're coming over land, and we're going to drift down a little bit. I'm quite liking the fact that the coastline is a little bit more natural than it used to be. It used to always be quite jaggedy, and now it's sort of less jaggedy. It's still a little bit weird on there, but you know, it's very good actually, considering. So we're coming in, and we're ready to deploy parachutes now, I think. There we go. And we're going to deploy air brakey things and everything. There we go. Slow ourselves down. Wonderful. And that should be a nice, there we go, deployment happens and flips the craft everywhere. Constantine is obviously happy. His first flight looks like it's going to have been a success. We don't have any fuel. Let's actually look what residuals we've got left. Yeah, we've got a selection of residuals just in there, just a little bit here and there. We've got a little bit of liquid oxygen burning off, actually, boiling off because of the temperature. Obviously the sun beating down upon us. And we're just going to let this accelerate down to the ground. And that is another semi-successful, successful-ish flight of the Coniston 1. I did notice, I think at the end of the last episode, we talked about potentially a jet-powered version of this. I've decided against it. I think if I was going to build a plane purely for X-planes, supersonic and things like that, this is probably not the right structure, primarily because this here is too much storage of fuel. I think from my knowledge, I'd probably want to reduce that right down, and even probably go for the area rule to really maximize it. This thing is a bit of a beast when it comes to what it's doing, so we'll leave it as it is at the moment. And what we're actually going to look at is, can we upgrade these engines at the back and make this a bit more of a sort of a machine to get altitude and speed records with. I think we're not looking for long-term speed in it. So anyway, coming down, could probably speed this up just a smidgen as we get right to the very end, and then we'll just do that there, and we'll let it pop down. Another successful recovery. Recover that vessel, and back to the Space Center. Konstantin is having his week off and he's added on his retirement time nicely there, so that's good. He gets another few months of time. We've got science up a little bit. We've got a little bit of science for supersonic flight. I need to actually check how that's progressing because we're doing that every single time. So I'll have a look before our next flight, but I do think we've actually got quite a bit left to do. In fact, let's do it now. Let's have a look. We can actually have a look at, let's have a look, supersonic flight. Is that the right one? Supersonic flight. And we have got a total of 4.6 out of, so we've got a lot to go. We've got 25 minutes. We've probably only got 18 minutes worth to left to do, so we can keep with these flights all the time. Let's have a look. What are the missions we now have available to us? So we have experimental rocket planes has appeared again. That's going to be on a cooldown for 120 days. Going to get nothing for it at the moment. X-planes high. Ooh, now what does this say? This contract will no longer be once you complete X-planes high or X-planes high difficult. Oh, now how many times can I do this? This contract will increase over time, but will start at 0 after each of these. Series of 4 contracts. So the question now is, do we let this go and keep doing it, or do we come on along and have a look at X-planes high difficult? What does this say? We've got to reach 4. Oh, now that's 4,500. I think, okay, we're going to keep doing this because we don't have the cockpit yet to go higher, which is good. We could go for this one, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go for difficult. I'm going to go for the difficult one, I think, because that's a nice altitude. So I think we're going to wait. We're going to go for this one. We're going to upgrade the cockpit because we still need to get the supersonic stuff done anyway. We've got as many missions as possible. We could squeeze one of these in, but once I accept them, the experimental rocket planes goes in the bin. So let's just play with this a little bit and get that science, even if we just let it complete, you know, for 10, 15 days and then just keep doing it. And because then it means we can actually jump to this. So I'm going to go and make sure that craft comes back. And then we've got this one building. Now, we're not going to accept the X-planes contract or anything like that until the time is ready to launch, because we want those days ticking up in an ideal sense. I don't know if they tick up once you've accepted it, if the contract period keeps going up. I don't know. Right, so we've got to wait for the Javelin. We've got to wait for this to come back. So I'm going to come back to you when I think the Javelin is ready, which will be towards the end of the year. Right. I will see you in but a moment. We are a few days on, and we've actually finished our research into supersonic flight, which means that we can actually get this upgrade. So we're going to pay for that, and I believe, what does it say? It says, after paying the entry cost for this upgrade, all freshly built and KCT edited vessels will acquire it automatically. Wonderful. So upgrades Mark 1 to Mark 2, the X1 to the X2 specification. Service ceiling is 75 kilometers. It costs us 5,000, but that's fine. We got some of that from our last mission. Right. So we're gonna have a look at this craft. We're gonna refresh it, make sure it gets that new cockpit added on, and then we're just waiting for the Javelin. So I'll get that done, and I will be right back. It is now the 13th of January 1954. We're in 1954 already. We have the Javelin ready to go with its downrange mission. Please tell me, do you want to see a lot of the sounding rocket stuff? Do you want me to try and buzz through it as quickly as possible? I think we could probably get through it reasonably quickly. It's not an optimized run, it's not a speed run, this is just, you know, a nice relaxed run through it. So we're going to launch the Javelin, and we'll talk a bit more about that, I think. So here we are on the launch pad, and we are ready to go. I didn't say, actually, I've coloured this red on the top just because it stands out, and it's not a fuel tank, it's not anything. I was going to colour it orange, but we're using that for the Coniston or the planes anyway, so I have not. So our aim here is to take this craft over this altitude and go over the, oh, it says downrange distance already been achieved. How has that happened? That's interesting. Well, we'll see if that is the case. Do I have any science on this, actually? Did I put any science? We've got telemetry. We might as well put that on. I don't think it's going to need it, but we will do that anyway. All right, I think we're just going to do a normal launch. We're going to see how far downrange we can actually get this. This is the aim. I want to actually see what the range on this thing's going to likely to be. So we've got power on. Light the engine. and let's go. We're going to start pitching over pretty much straight away and get this thing over as quickly as possible, because we don't want gravity losses. We want to get started on that downrange route as quickly as possible. There we go, that's unticked now. So because we were parked up, it wasn't measuring it. Okay, right. So we're just going to keep going, and what I'm aiming for is to be about 45 when we get to the 1,000 meters per second. If we get to the 1,000 meters per second, I suppose. Don't need to worry about the overheating on the wing sections there anymore, because we've operated those. This is the operated version. We could still get better tanks, you know, integral tanks are coming soon, and it will be debatable whether I actually put them on this craft or whether I just hold off until we get to something a bit more substantial. I don't know. Right, we're almost at the 45. I need to make sure that we're actually going to make it to the required altitude, thinking about it, because we need to get to that 140. So we're just going to sit it on 52 for now. I think we're going to make it, although we might spin out at the top. That would be a problem. There we go. Right. Okay, so 52 is an okay sort of timing. Right. This thing is now going to flex around a bit, is it? No. Oh, it's interesting. Oh, because we've got that extra payload, that weight in the nose, because of this sounding rocket payload, it's actually orientating itself not too bad when the air was there. Now we're losing a bit of air resistance. We're slowing down a bit, but we'll see. So we're at okay, let's see. We're aiming for basically 200. When are we going to get that? Is the question. I think we got it. I think we're going to have it, because I think we're going to hit 100 before we get pretty much out of the atmosphere, which is great. So we might actually be on the limit for this craft, thinking about it. I might have overestimated the thrust that we have on this. I should have thought about the previous downrange emission a little bit, because I think this might be a little bit heavier. No, we've done it, but can we get a good height on it? So we're going up still. Where do you think this is going to go to? So I'm reading it as we're on 150 kilometers downrange now, 160, 170, 180 downrange, and we're coming to 190. We're going to be about 200. Right, we've gone over that marker there, so we've done it already. So we got about 200. So this thing, I think, has got a downrange with this payload of about 400. I would predict it. We should really, however, blow this thing up. We need range safety right now, don't we? We need a bit of range safety. So where are we? Should we range safety it? We wait until we get into atmosphere. Yeah, we're in atmosphere. Where's my range safety gone? Oh, I don't know if I have range safety. I cannot see it. Oh well, I guess this thing is just... Oh, there it is, to the bottom. Right. So you really should range safety on the way down. We're not getting any science for it. We're not getting anything positive out of it. We're about to lose electricity. So I think once we've got to the point where we're losing electricity, in fact, we might get a speed record from this, actually, thinking about it, on return. We'll see. It's going to start turning. When we start to slow down, or the power of the electrical charge goes too low, we'll do it. Yeah, there we go. We're going to range safety it. There we go. Right. Back to the Space Center. Right, we are back at the Space Center, and that was one of the rare missions where we don't actually have anything collected at the end of it, so that we don't get the end screen. There is a thought there that maybe for the sounding rocket downrange payload thing, you should either have to be transmitting specific, I don't know, telemetry of a special sort that doesn't give you science but completes the contract while you're doing it, or that you actually have to return the payload so they can actually study it, because surely you'd want your payload in a lot of cases to actually tell you what was going on. I don't know. Maybe somebody comment down below. Do you think that's what you should have? I don't know. Right. I think we're gonna maybe come towards the end of the episode right now. We've got a load of contracts back up again. In particular, we have our rocket planes back, which is almost perfect. So we're going to do one of those again, and that will leave us with just another after that. We've done two. That'll be the third one with one more, and then we can move on to these things, which are starting to stack up quite nicely. So we should get some good funds for those. And then we've got these things to still do, and we've got the downrange development one. So I think next time we're going to be looking at which one? This one. Yeah, these ones. So these are actually because I accepted it, it does continue. That's interesting. So once you accept it, it does continue to count. Wonderful. Right, that's good to know. That is really good to know. So We're going to accept one of these. I think 100 units of payload, 100 kilometers. That's easy. What's this one say? Don't want that one. I want this one. 125 for 170 kilometers. That is so easy. It's actually unbelievable. We'll have that straight away. Get that out of the system, and we can start working on the other stuff as well. So from me, until next time, when we're probably going to send up another rocket plane, try and break some records. We may actually jump to the thing. I quite like the idea of finishing all the experimental rocket planes ones, but this is very easy, got a lot of money in it. You know what, I think maybe we're going to have to jump to that. I think maybe it's worth our while to do that jump, or maybe we do the rocket plane and then jump to that straight away and we get 2 flights in one episode. I think that's a good idea. We'll do that, leave one of them unfinished and then jump to that one, get on with that. Right, so from me, please comment down below, say what you like, say what you want to see, say if you want to speed up a little bit, do you want me to slow down, do you want me to explain a little bit more, do you want to see more building? There's not much building going on at the moment because we're reusing our boosters and so forth, but tell me what you want to see, and until next time, have a great one.